Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Caring Counts episode. My name is Taylor Hewlett, and I'm with Applewood Our House. We do these Caring Counts because our goal is to connect people in memory care. We want to connect people in memory care because we think the more connections you have, the more support you have, both with your successes and your challenges. We've been doing these for quite some time now, so if you find this interesting, please go back and watch some of our previous episodes. If this is the first one you're watching, welcome. Caring Counts is brought to you by Applewood Our House. Well, hello, everyone. Like I said, my name is Taylor. I'm with Applewood Our House, and this is our Caring Counts Live episode. Today, we have Sherrie Bonham, the administrator at Applewood Our House. Sherrie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, I'm Sherrie. I am the administrator at Applewood Our House, and I'm really passionate about care for our residents, our memory care residents, and education as a whole in dementia. I've been with Applewood for a bit over 7 years, and that's
great.
Pretty much me.
That's awesome. I love that you're passionate about education, about memory care as well. I think that's a huge piece of it. And I've learned many things over the year I've been with Applewood. So that's fantastic. And today I really wanted to dive into talking about weighing your options of senior living in memory care, especially during a pandemic, during COVID-19. Will you talk a little bit about the different options people have for placement in these times, if you will?
Well, it's such a challenging thing, even without a pandemic. There are many choices. And what I like to tell people is there's the right choice for everyone, which is why there's so many different styles of options for your loved one out there. There's anywhere from the big feel, that big facility feel that provides certain things that might appeal to some people, and then everything in between to medium to small. A lot of what we do, we focus on the smaller for our particular demographic. And especially in a time of pandemic, we are seeing a lot of benefits to that.
Absolutely. Will you speak to a little bit about those benefits of a small home-like environment? Because that's what Applewood is. We're homes in the Denver metro area. And yeah, some of the benefits. I want to learn more.
So some of the benefits, particularly in our style, is that we have a smaller group of residents, even though it's a large enough group that people can really develop friendships and find someone that they can be social with. Also, in our type of environment, our caregivers have a smaller ratio and can really focus on that one-to-one care and actually get to know the person. So they're not, trying to pass medications to 30 to 50 people where they have to really be very time management. They can actually set aside something and spend that time with them and really get to know the residents as individuals.
Yeah, let's talk about that less staff. And I think one-on-one engagement we've seen, especially with COVID-19 and family visits where they are right now and things like that, that one-on-one engagement is super important. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. It has been crucial. It's something that even before the pandemic, there's, in a smaller environment, you already kind of have that basis. But since the pandemic, this has really made a difference to where, people in a smaller type of facility, because they get more one-on-one, they can fix exactly what they want for breakfast. They feel like the staff is part of family and they have more of a communication that way. We're seeing less effects of the isolation that the pandemic has brought. So we can not only do that, but we can set them up, being that in the pandemic, we cannot do large group activities or do some of the other special things like outings and bringing in family and doing big family get-togethers. We can't do any of that right now, but our caregivers are able to spend that quality time, help them do FaceTime, help them do window visits, help them um, you know, with whatever their interests are, and spend more time that way with them.
A fun story comes to mind. We have a resident that likes to build model airplanes, right? And I think that's just so cool because what a really cool one-on-one engagement piece that
Mhm.
when you do have time as a one-on-one environment, such as Applewood or some of the smaller type environments in our area, you can have that time to build a model airplane with your resident, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just popped a question in here. What is small and how many? So what can you define, I guess, small environment? What does that mean?
Absolutely. So there is a range, and I'm going to speak specifically to Colorado because it is a bit different for every state. Every state has their own definition. In Colorado, the definition of a small assisted living is under 20 beds. So anything under 20 beds. And in Colorado, you'll find group homes that go anywhere from 5 to 8 beds. All the way up to, it's very common to see up to 16, which is what most of the Applewoods are. So anything up to that 20 bed is considered a small assisted living.
Right, right. And being able to have those opportunities to do those one-on-one engagement activities, such as build model airplanes, having less than 20 beds. Do you have any other stories that come to mind or examples that come to mind for one-on-one activities that we've done?
Some of it is not just in activities, but actual enrichment, where you're actually participating at a conversational level geared towards that resident, and our residents feel like they have someone to talk to, whether it be another resident that we compare and help guide that conversation towards, or just with the staff, getting to know them, being able to really talk about what their life was like and finding out their stories. And that thought comes to mind. We've had a resident who was one of the first women that worked for the IRS, and she has beautiful, brilliant stories. She just wants that one-on-one person to sit down and just listen to her and engage and talk. And she has an incredible sense of humor. So it is a ton of fun. And that's something that also draws staff to work in our facilities like this, is because they get to actually spend that time caring for the person.
Right, right. And it's different, but it's kind of in the same realm, the activities versus enrichment that you were talking about,
Mhm.
conversational. I also want to throw in the piece of enrichment of being able to help out around the house if the resident wants to, of course.
No one wants to feel like they don't have a purpose. Some people, their purpose was, I'm never going to clean anything again if someone will do it for me. And that is okay. But we also have residents that want to help. They have that desire to help. And in a one-on-one environment or a small living environment, often the residents do help with certain things. Of course, they're not responsible for it and they're not forced to. It's just, it gives a person purpose. So if they want to help fold their laundry, if they want to help, we have a gentleman, it was his job after dinner to wipe down the table and the counter, because he said, someone has made dinner for me and this is what I do. This is my giving back. And he is the best counter wiper ever. So that gives purpose, and we're able to figure out what people want and what their capabilities are to help, and ask them, can you help me with this? And often, they're just so excited to pitch in and, really see that they can have a purpose in maintaining their home and participating with the home.
Right, right. And I really like what you're saying about purpose, because I think there's kind of two things at play here, especially with a smaller home type environment and probably bigger facilities too. But there's two things. I think connection. Us as humans, we want to connect with people. And obviously during a pandemic, that is all shifted. But then also a sense of purpose. And if you can do those kind of two things, if you can have those two things interplay with each other, I think you're doing something good. What do you think about that?
I really do. I think that that type of purpose and that type of connection really, if our people could be home safely, of course they would be, but it is necessary for us to be able to provide the level of care that they need. But in that level of care and looking at the individual, connection and purpose has to be a focus in that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of connections and purpose and things like that, we had another pop in here. We want to talk about our house dogs, our furry friends at our houses. What a cool thing that we can do as being kind of a small environment.
Absolutely. We love our house dogs. Pets are such an important part to many people's lives. And what I love about having house dogs, you see, if someone did not grow up with a dog or an animal in their home and they're just like, kind of dogs know. But for those people that they've always had a dog or an animal or they need that comfort, it is so crucial for them. And having a dog that they can walk around with, that they can play fetch with, that they can pet, and that they can just love on has been really a great part of our environment.
Yeah, I love that. I can speak personally to that. I don't know if you can hear my little puppy howling in the background of our Facebook Live, but yeah, I'm excited to go play with them too, because it's just such a cool part of the connection and the life here.
It really
Um,
is.
yeah, we also talked about, so here at Applewood, I want to go back to what you said in the beginning. I want to kind of tie a bow on this, if you will. Um, it's not a one, you go to small because of this. It's not a one size fits all. It's really different, and that's why there are so many options. And can you let's dive into that just a little bit around those different options and the benefits.
I think that, and there's a couple of pieces I'd like to touch on. Some people really like that bigger feel. They like that when you go into a bigger facility, and especially on regular assisted living, this isn't always in particular to memory care, but people like the different, having a choice of many different activities to go to and different classes to join or different types of exercise classes. They might have a yoga, they might have a sit-exercise, they might have something that is kind of a wide variety. Now, in a pandemic, this is pending on facility and what they've been approved to do. So I do want to throw that out there because right now that might be different for even in a larger facility if they can't utilize the certain rooms and the certain groups that they're doing. All of us have to run according to what we've been given in our area and our guidelines and in the regulation that's been passed to us. So, but that is something that, people like that kind of resort feeling. They might have traveled a lot and so that's where they wanted to be, and they like that kind of action in their life. For some people, they need something a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved. A lot of what we see, because we're memory care, is that can be very overwhelming, which is why even if people aren't in the secured memory care type of facility, which means that they really have some safety risk, maybe just at the beginning stages of their dementia, they still find the smaller size facilities they're not as overwhelming. They can provide that one-on-one. It doesn't seem like they have to really extend themselves to participate, and they have that extra guidance and help in a smaller facility. So that's kind of that different feel. Some people know that mom would always like more of a home environment rather than the big facility feel. And some people know that, they could have lived in a casino if they wanted to. So that's definitely for them. Also in the pandemic, when we talk about, trying to control our rate of infection, this is hard. It's hard in a facility. You've got a lot of people mingling. One advantage that we have seen is that because it's a smaller staff in and out, there's not as much in and out, and it's a more regular staff. So we've been really able to teach and implement the best to our abilities the infection control practices with less exposure, since you don't have to have 30 people come into a building a day to keep it running.
Right. I love that. There's a lot of gold, I think, with a lot of good points within what you just said around there is not a one size fits all. You find what's best for you, and I want to touch on that in a second, and then also infection control, because we are living in a pandemic right now, and that's very real. That's a fact, and we all have to deal with infection control and being our very best and caring for our residents the very best that we can. So that being said, around placement, I mean, what can someone do if they're watching this right now? What can someone do? I'm just starting my journey. I don't know. I don't even know what I need. I don't even know what my mom would want. How can I get started? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, think about how they live their life and what is driving the need for them to get that extra care now. Is it something like some cognitive decline? Their dementia is progressing and they need that extra level. Really, what do they need that help with? What kind of life did they like to lead? Were they very extroverted? Did they like having a lot of people around them? Can they get themselves to and from activities and dining and manage to function in that way? If they can't, then it's time to start thinking, okay, let me explore options for either a medium or a smaller size level, depending on their needs. There's a lot of resources out there. You can always use the Alzheimer's Association has some great resources. And I know that you've talked to Amy before. There's also people that specialize in helping figure that out. And if all else fails, just call some facilities, call someone like me. We're happy to talk, and we're very open about being able to meet someone's needs and having the right fit. And, kind of helping a family just talk through it.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because our goal with these Caring Counts episodes is exactly that, is connecting people where they need to be connected to, in the direction that they want to go and what's going to be the best fit for them, whether that's Applewood or not.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Sherrie, I so appreciate your time today. I think your insight and thoughts around this topic are so crucial. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me again, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So glad to have you. I wanted to also remind everyone, next week, we're so excited. Next week is our Caring Counts event. We have an annual Caring Counts event. I know. I can't believe it's already October now, but here we are. So next week event will be all online due to the pandemic. It's Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. So 12 noon Mountain Time. You can bring your little brown paper bag lunch and have some lunch with us. You can join us each day next week, the 12th through the 16th at 12 p.m. It's a Caring Counts Alzheimer's and Dementia Conference. It's completely complimentary. You can register via our Facebook page on our event, or we'll post the landing page here in the chat when we're done with the live here. Sherrie, big thank you again. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. We're super excited to have you. If you would like to register for our event, please do so. And we will see you in 2 Wednesdays. Thanks, everyone.